Good evening, everybody. Brian Neubert here from goldenblack.com, live in Mackey Arena, late on a Friday night. They say nothing good happens after midnight on Friday nights. I think people say that, don't they? This is going to be your best example ever, since most of you will see this after midnight on a Friday night. This is your goldenblack.com wrap video following Purdue's 91-64 win over Michigan, a very impressive win for Purdue. Thank you to the Purdue Union Club Hotel for your support. As always, we appreciate it very much. Diving right into it here, this was a big-time effort by Purdue. This was big-time energy from Purdue. This was big-time mental strength from Purdue. Now, trigger warning for some of you. The schedule 100% led to the Ohio State loss the other night. Purdue was clearly, and if you watch Braden Smith in the press conference, he is basically telling you this. That team had too many one-day turnarounds. It's not just physical fatigue, folks. It is mental fatigue. It is the constant diving right into your next opponent that doesn't allow you to sit back and take a deep breath, that doesn't allow you to focus on yourself for like an hour. And I think the Ohio State game pushed Purdue in this direction. I think if television hadn't done Purdue dirty, so to speak, and that game had been played on Wednesday instead of Tuesday, giving Purdue that day to actually breathe, I think they win that game. But then this game doesn't play out the way this game played out, because Mad Purdue is pretty good, and Mad Purdue ended this game before it even began, and Mad Braden Smith is a whole different animal. And Smith here the last 36 hours, whatever it was, maybe even this morning, took some time and just reset himself mentally, and you saw the result here. And he just dominated this game. Purdue dominated this game defensively, and I think, Braden Smith is an elite player, but in addition to that, and these two things go hand in hand, he is an elite competitor. He is a guy capable of bringing everybody around him up to a higher level. He's a guy capable, just with his competitiveness, capable of bringing his whole team up to a different level. And I think that's what you saw in the first seconds of this game. Literally, it was like a pick six, 10 seconds into the game. I think he has a really strong will, and I think that will had sort of softened a little bit Tuesday night, and he immediately reset himself after that Ohio State game, and you saw the results here. But yes, the Ohio State game was a product of the schedule. Purdue was worn out physically, mentally, whatever it might have been. They were good enough to get up 16, and that was probably the worst thing that could have happened to them, because when you need a breather and you have a big lead, that almost gives you permission to lay off the gas pedal a little bit, and that is probably what happened. I'm not guessing here, guys. I'm not just making shit up. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I observe, what years and years and years of experience observing these teams up close has told me about teams. Doesn't matter. Purdue wins 91-64 over Michigan. Really important win in the Big Ten race. You could not afford to lose another home game this early in the season and expect to stay up to speed with the two Michigan schools. Kind of had to have this one. You kind of have to have all of them at home from here on out. Not all of them. I'm sure there will be really big games, from here on out in Mackey Arena that, are going to be big asks for Purdue. But this one, at this stage of the season, coming off Tuesday night's schedule-induced loss to Ohio State, this was a really big one. And Purdue obviously delivered in a big way, and I think Braden Smith, obviously, as I mentioned before, was the driving force behind it, but all three of Purdue's juniors were really good. Fletcher Lawyer was very good. He has mastered the art of kicking the ball to a teammate to pass it back to him for a three-pointer, which is, if you ever have that in horse, you're going to lose if you're going against him. Trey Kaufman-Wren was very good against Michigan's very uncommon, very uniquely skilled size, which was never really much of a factor because Purdue's defensive energy, this frenzied defense Purdue is playing, that's forcing forcing turnovers left and right, was elite in this game. Michigan's size didn't matter because Purdue erased Michigan's guards. If you have 2 7-footers, it doesn't matter if they can't touch the ball. And Purdue did such a good job. C.J. Cox, Sha'Carri Harris, Braden Smith, Miles Colvin on down the line of pressuring Michigan's guards and really taking away Vlad Golden and Danny Wolf to the point where all of a sudden Purdue's up 20 and now Michigan's in scramble mode, can never really get what they want to do established. And I just think the first 5 to 10 minutes of this game really determined or decided the game, and that was 100% a credit to Purdue's defense, Purdue's energy. This team that has really come a long way defensively got back to what it was before that second half against Ohio State, which shall never be mentioned again, I promise you. But it's just kind of absurd what Purdue is doing right now defensively. After getting 30 points off turnovers against Ohio State, they get 29 in this game. Michigan turned the ball over. Now, Michigan is prone to turnovers. That is one of their vulnerabilities. That is one of their Achilles heels. I don't know if you can have multiple Achilles because that is one person, that is one entity, one character. But you can have multiple heels. And their big one is turnovers. They have been very turnover prone this season, and Purdue really twisted the knife on that. Unlike anything I think Purdue's seen in years in terms of being able to apply pressure on defense on the perimeter, generate turnovers. This has not been a high turnover generation team. Purdue's had defensively here for a long time, and this one has become that because they're playing so connected. They've taken so well to this new system, which I will detail next week in a big story I was going to run before the Ohio State game, before that second half went to hell, and my story kind of went with it. It now applies again, so I'm going to run that next week, and I hope you'll find that interesting. But Braden Smith was the tone setter here. All the upperclassmen were really good. Caleb First was really good, I thought. But I think the guards, the pressure the guards applied really did it, really decided this game, and that segues into the next part of this, is that the freshmen all came up really big in this game. C.J. Cox and Sha'Carri Harris have been good to solid kind of all season long. Some ups and downs for both of them, obviously, but both of them were excellent in this game, and that continues an upward trajectory for them as the season goes on. Perfectly normal for freshmen to get better as seasons goes on, as they get more experience, as they kind of settle in, as things just kind of come together for them. The game slows down, if you will, however you want to term it. But those guys are really coming on. Now, typically in the middle of the season, sometimes freshmen's, very, very well put. Sometimes freshmen wear down a bit physically because these seasons are much longer than what they're accustomed to. I see the opposite. I see fresher legs from them as the season goes on, and perhaps that has something to do with their increased comfort level, amplifying their confidence, thus amplifying their energy. I don't know, but Sha'Carri Harris and C.J. Cox have both been really good, and as we've been saying from day one, they have really bright futures at Purdue, but they also have very important presence, not gifts, presence at Purdue. They can be very important parts of this team, and you got a great example of it here today, tonight, whatever it is. Riley Burgess, 2 for 2 from 3, showing a little bit of the promise that Purdue has seen in him. Purdue, again, Trey Kaufman-Renn has some foul concerns in this game. He has to spend some time on the bench. He's not going to play 40 minutes every game anyway, so he's always going to be on the bench some, but the foul issues sometimes put him there probably a little bit more than Purdue would like. This particular season, Purdue needs good minutes from Riley Burgess. Survival minutes, yes, but good minutes, he's probably working his way toward that as well. And for him to just make a couple open jumpers, that's a pretty good deal, especially after the Dirk Nowitzki impression at Oregon that could have deterred him from shooting. because I know Purdue is not thrilled about him taking that shot. But to his credit, he gets the wide open pick and pop, and he makes them. He doesn't not have the confidence to take those shots, and he's skilled enough to make them. So he's showing some real progress here, and I can't necessarily say he was a big part of this win because Purdue was up 100 before he even came into the game, but he certainly acquitted himself well and showed himself as a player who's getting a little bit better as he goes, who's probably in the same boat as Cox and Jakari Harris in that as he gets more experience, as he keeps learning, things start to come together a little bit for him. If he can be playing his best basketball later in the year, that's really going to help Purdue. But just an unbelievable job that Purdue has done defensively here. Purdue has no shot blockers. Nothing even resembling a shot blocker. Their leading shot blockers this year are probably going to be Caleb First, who I would not qualify as a shot blocker, Braden Smith, who has a weird ability to block jumpers, Camden Heide, who's a help side defender, is occasionally going to get a help side block, and Daniel Jacobson, who blocked 3 shots in the first game of the season, and that will probably keep him in the top 6 or 7 all year long. Purdue has no shot blockers. But this is a great example of what you hear me say sometimes about defense, is that there's more than one way to protect the rim. You protect the rim by protecting the paint. And the job Purdue has done in terms of helping each other against the dribble on the perimeter and the help that people are dribbling into has been their rim protection. And it has been a really, really effective form of rim protection for them. And it is forcing mistakes. It is forcing people into crowds. It is contributing to these turnovers. Again, read my story next week on Purdue's adjustments. They're changing philosophy, their tweaks defensively from last season, and it will illuminate a little bit more of what I'm talking about here without me taking 20 minutes to go on and on about it here. It's Friday night. Nobody's watching this. I don't understand when Friday night for television purposes stopped being date night. It used to be where TV didn't want to put appointment viewing on Friday nights because they figured nobody was home. And then all of a sudden with this ridiculous Big Ten basketball schedule now, they have to play every single night. TV needs content every single night. So Purdue's playing on Friday night, it seems like every weekend. And it didn't used to be that way. And Purdue shouldn't have been playing this game Friday night. There's no reason this game couldn't have been tomorrow, which would have made way more sense. But Peacock needed it, or Fox needed it tonight. What channel was this on? I don't even know. Fox needed this on Friday night, like Peacock needed the Ohio State game on Tuesday night. Had that game been played on Wednesday night and Purdue gets a few hours off the plane from Oregon to take a deep breath, things unfold very differently. I promise you guys. I absolutely promise you. You can tell I'm a little bit bitter. Look, that's all I got here. So, great win for Purdue. Great win for Purdue in the complexion of the Big Ten title race, which Purdue is very much part of here now. And not that it wasn't before, but Michigan State's day is coming when it hits its scheduling bottleneck at the end of the year. And they're going to be saying the same stuff I've been saying that nobody wants to hear. So Purdue's right in the middle of this now. Michigan is still in it. The Michigan I saw tonight didn't look like a viable contender, but they are still 7-2 in the Big Ten, whatever it is. But Purdue had to get this one, had to pin a loss on Michigan, had to keep adding to its win total, had to keep defending its home court, and got it done in a big way. So that's what I got. A couple days off now for Purdue, and an opportunity for me to I shaved this morning, which I hadn't done since before Washington, I think, and opportunity for me to get my zombie glasses replaced. You see, I lost a nose piece some time ago. There is no ear thing over here, and I've been wearing zombie glasses for the last couple weeks, and perhaps on Tuesday I can go to the eye doctor's place and get them replaced. Purdue can take 2 days off now. Well deserved. Their first 2 days off since January 6th. I will remind you, the NCAA mandates 1 a week for a reason, and these teams with these schedules keep punting them down the line to the point where you would much rather have 1 a week than have a full week off. And I just, as I wrote my column this week, I don't understand why everybody can't come together and just not have weeks off, but make sure there is that 1 day off a week. This is a bigger deal than some of you people want to believe. So anyway, that's what I got, guys, from Purdue's 91-64 win over Michigan. This is Brian Neubert from goldenblack.com. Thank you for watching. Thank you for reading. Thank you for listening. And thank you for processing our materials, no matter how agitated those materials might be. And thank you to the Purdue Club Hotel, as always, for your support. It is very much appreciated. And I will talk to you guys again, guess, next Friday night, right, when Purdue plays Indiana. So we'll talk to you then. Thanks, everybody.